I mean, she had this whole candy store, and she would her fundraising goals with the kids were just like, oh my god. After lunch, it was like, okay, we're not doing anything except calming down, perhaps, maybe. No, I don't think we're calming down either. Yeah, I'm not doing that. So it was tough.
We had to give away on the popcorn, and the kid got one like and after we know it's season player, and I was like,
Wow.
you know, it was like what?
Yeah.
You know, so used to bear one.
Okay.
Good luck.
So you're gonna take it easy for a little while here, let the crowd feel such a big.
I have a little bit of news for you.
Yes, dear.
For the last 2.5 years, we've been doing this thing with the video, right? We just found out last week when we had the repairman come in here to fix the modem that we didn't have a modem. Somehow, by miracle of whatever, the video's gone out. And the repairman couldn't figure out, he couldn't figure out how we did it. And I can't figure out how. So it is stable now. With a real modem, I was able to put it in high res last week. And it's the first time I saw this in high resolution where you can zoom in on somebody's eyeball. And it's just
that the people
phenomenal.
upstairs have
Yeah.
Wi-Fi and somehow we piggyback on.
Yeah, well, it does. I don't know. It was just. It turns out Comcast has 2 modems, one for the telephone and one for the internet. Well, we were on the modem for the telephone, and that gave us a really low resolution image, and that's why it would keep crashing. Because when people call, the phone would crash the camera when the phone was going. Every time somebody rang the phone, it was crashing.
Really?
So now we have a real internet connection. We have an actual internet modem, and the signal is going on in high def.
Is the sound a little louder?
The sound is better, and it doesn't. It's not as garbled.
That,
Yeah, before sometimes it would get boomy, but that's also the bass on that thing. So we keep the bass down.
Yeah, so I have the new.
Yeah, just the mid-range up, because that's where the voice is. Turn the bass down, turn the treble off, and you pretty much got it. So you're up and you're running, and I'll see you guys later.
All right.
I'll see you around raffle time.
All right.
I'm walking these days, so it's going to take me a lot.
Oh wow, I didn't notice
and
that.
she had pasted.
Well, good.
My chair broke, so for the last week I've had to. It's the first time in 10 years I've. You know, did you feel this when you started walking? You feel taller?
Yeah.
I feel like 2 inches, 3 inches taller. It's weird.
Because we forget.
Yeah, you forget what it's like up here.
Yes.
The weather up
Looking
here.
down on things for a change.
Yes. Different weather.
Really?
Yeah, but it's like weird. I feel.
Yeah.
Right.
And walking is one of the best exercises.
Yes.
Ever.
Except I have bad hips.
Yeah, well then.
It's wearing them out.
Not for you, perhaps.
Yeah. But I lost 380 pounds, and that's really big difference.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, less stress.
Yeah, I can.
And I'm sorry.
Because I used to be only able to go about 50 feet, and then my hips would disconnect. Now I can go about 2 blocks, 3 blocks.
Good.
So losing all that weight really helped.
That's good. That's good.
Just gonna keep it up.
All right. Yeah, what's your story? What are you doing here anyway? Troublemaker. I have a breakfast. Do you like those shoes? What about the pines? What are you doing over there? What did you get those?
Doesn't sound like, it sounds like a very specific need.
That's what I used to do to my kids every once in a while. I'd walk up to them and start peppering them with questions, and before they would answer, I just said something else, something else. I want to answer one question. So why do you want to do that? You like that? You like this quality of life being in life? Should I stop talking to you? That's frightening. They would be like, they know I was just being silly. You know, they'd say, stop being silly. Is this silly? Do you think this is silly? Why do you think this is silly? Why should I do this? Why do you think you should do this? Yeah.
I must have weighed about 8 from that.
More like 5.
Yeah, because he still looks like he could be like in the 300s.
Yeah, it does.
So, Mr. Natural. Oh, yeah? But if you put off that much, that's just like totally, absolutely great. It's really,
Yeah,
really
it's
really
Help your heart out. Everything else, I'm trying to stone people.
Good, what a day.
You're still working on it.
I know, but I figured we'll go for a little while before the people come in person. Probably want to have a exclusive evening. Oh, Mr. Copel.
It must be exclusive if I'm here.
Well, you know that. That's why you're about to leave. How are you doing?
I've been invited to stay over the surrounding.
Yes, I understand, but I haven't heard a word from you.
Well, I don't speak in words, I speak in phrases, and sometimes
I speak in English, actually.
In many cases, you looked at that and saying, a soft foot, what foot? Soft on each foot.
That's talking. I'm weaning myself slowly from this. Like, now I can actually walk from room to room.
Hold on.
You're such a boy.
I brought my own.
You're such a radical.
And my successor knows.
You remind me of me in my younger
My
days.
radicalism. Seen a long time ago. I'm my 74th.
74th?
74th month.
Wow.
What is it?
80. 80? You're looking good for 80.
I tell you what's the key. You want to know the key? I will drink. I will smoke. I will eat much. I will chase. Well, I do, but I have to catch them.
Didn't come out
When
like
you
the
can catch it.
74th.
Or when they catch you chase them until they catch you.
That's a lie, actually.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
All right. This is the time for lining up and signing up and reinvesting in America as we love it and know it. Yes, you don't, I haven't signed anybody. I'm waiting for those people who are curious, even if they are not yellow. And then I'll go through my boring announcements for the people out there in TV land.
Oh, I'm sorry, she always says so. She always says so. I mean, to sign you up on?
So I'll just,
We're
fit in
gonna
one
sign
of
you up.
these spaces. Does that mean
Remember-
between Manning and,
That would be early.
now what about 8 and 9? Does that put me later on? I'll pull
Oh,
it
you
later
can ask
on.
Mr. Brady. Mr. Brady is.
That's a good place to eat.
Yeah, did you go to Promenade? Was it good? Down in Elton Green?
I go for
I
5.
was done. We got there late. We didn't hear the teachers.
That would be.
We missed that part.
Don Alpine is a lawyer, so I guess he's that's
You played the piano.
part of his entertainment thing. I think a lot of lawyers is either horrible or entertaining.
It doesn't seem lawyerish.
I don't think so.
It seems like poetry.
Yeah.
Lawyerish.
He lives in San Francisco and he's a living. Boy. Poor boy.
If you were there, it had to be question.
But I think he's like, you
I think
know,
it's
an immigration lawyer or something, I'm not sure. He's the guy that goes to
Stand
that.
there anymore. Dismiss.
We haven't been disclosed. He told me one time, I can't remember, several years ago.
Couple of years. Oh, it's just like a song in class. He was watching dressed up too.
Yeah, his wife is a sweetheart. Like,
That was good. You know, wives have coat for me too.
that's good, that's good. Cool, if your spouse doesn't really want you to do something, you shouldn't do it.
I was looking at my calendar, so it's gonna have your name and his name. And he said he'd send me an email with what he wants, an email that he wants me to use for him. You want me to take information from you? What do you want me to do? Okay, so your regular email address. Okay. All right.
And you know, that it's on the, welcome,
any other San Francisco generations.
And then Claire's involved, so
Yes,
she'll.
I was. I done some mates, yeah. I don't know how some mates, so I go to
In July, is good features in,
Charles Cooper. Charles Cooper.
John Rowe and Dan.
Seen that?
Right.
Goodrich. I'm not sure how to say it.
We had a poetry reading on that.
Yeah.
And the art, you know, and the art.
So we can get music,
Rosario,
you know, and that's gonna be nice. It would be nice to have some. Because you know, there's that funny time when we're not really starting yet, then they want to know, then you know, if you don't stand right up and give all the people that have canceled, then we don't have good.
Well, this is like what's happening tonight. It's like, hello?
Oh, I wish Harper Marx would come back to lunch or something. We could have like 3 or 5 minutes at least. And I mean, Mr. Natural comes, Mr. Natural comes every single week, and he has like hundreds of students that would come.
Well, that would be good.
Well, he has good performers.
to invite.
It's open mic. I like
Oh,
it.
there's a range.
They're nice, they're like really nice guys, you know.
I think if a teacher recommends a student, then they're probably.
So then to get
And some of the people around here, Lance from,
I could bring my little, once I get organized better, I could bring my market place.
Oh, I used to play with marching band. Did you play that?
I got in the market, I got one that from a music teacher who had this thing, and the thing is that it has all the parts, but if you turn it upside down, almost 2/3 of them fall out.
They're not screwed on.
Well, they had like these little, like upholstery nails that hold them into the pegs. And, you know, most of them are still, like I say, about 1/3, maybe a little more. You can turn it upside down, it's just like, the other one's so it needs to, but
No
if
longer
you,
good without that.
yeah, so as long as it's like that, it's good. And I thought about buying a new one. See, the ones that I see at the Haight-Ashbury Music Store or other places, they all just have everything is silver. It's all silver color. See, mine has the white keys and the black, it's just like a piano. It's like, so it's really cool. And each key has the note etched in it. So I know that that's C sharp because that's what it says. You know.
Did you play the harmonica?
Yeah.
Did you ever play the harmonica?
I have.
You know, it's like a keyboard.
Yeah. It's like, there's.
You can blow directly in it, but they have
They have the kind that go like
The owner
this.
sells a little, kind
Those are cool. I
of
like
flexible hose that you can blow in the actual.
Yeah. There's the ones that are like this, and there's the ones that are like that. The one that I like though is a friend of mine had. It was like a little. It wasn't a guitar, but it was some weird Middle Eastern instrument that had like a round bulbous bass and was about the bottom, was about this big long. But he had taken it and completely electrified it. And so there was no strings, it's just depending on where you put your fingers and what you hit down here. And it was so easy to learn how to play. It was like, I was playing like, I was like Riders on the Storm and what do you call it, the national anthem and things like that in a matter of 20 minutes. I was sitting there going like this because it was like, everything was just like, it was amazing. And then it had all these buttons. He had plugged it into this big amp system, and there were like 50 buttons on it. And I'd be playing these buttons, and it would sound like a tuba and all this other things. It was all, pre-moved. But he had some kind of electronic thing, and I thought, I want one of those. He said, they don't make them. I said, why don't they make them? Because I
It was very cool.
Yes.
People invented instruments.
So it was such a cool thing.
Astonishing.
It was all touch. And they just, you know, well,
You know, upright pianos are now very cheap. Are very cheap and there's a piano store in Berkeley on Long Island. Just pouring out the doors and people going in for
well, when I was living in,
$10.
oh, I know, well, $10. I know, when I was living, the last place I lived over in like the Silver Avenue area, they were like, I could have gotten 5 or 6 stand-up pianos just for like the effort it would take to move them. People were just like, we don't want it anymore. We don't want it anymore. It's just what it's like. It's like, I look at it, because I was a friend of a friend, and played as much as I can. I mean, I like this, but like, it's not even moving. It's not. It's like they just didn't want it anymore because nobody played it.
And if it's like up on a second story or something like that.
And they all were, because up in that neighborhood, you know, you have the downstairs is the garage basement, and the upstairs is where they live. So there's maybe 1 or 2 flights of stairs to take it. There's no way I could do it. But the thing is, like, this one, it was like, it was immaculate. It was just beautiful wood, and everything was perfect. They had been using it as a family instrument, like the great-grandma played it, and the grandma, and the mom, and 2 or 3 of the kids, like this. So it had been played.
Take this out there.
But then the kids were off at college, and they weren't. No one was interested in music. They had
They don't teach music.
It's just like There was Sherry Rose Walker, and she got the blues. So we got Vegas sporty feature that usually comes here. So
I could text them.
asked him if he wants to do a feature, but I could tell him offer that since he was here, and she was not. Good thing until he was in the car.
I think the red was from the truck, so she took it off and slid it further on the truck. So the megaphone. This yeah, I think so. It's kind of 40 years ago. My disconnect, here she is in the middle of the floor.
That record we're mentioning, it wasn't Sean and I, but the guys who were watching that.
They got these really good days like Winchester. And then one of them gets out of the truck with
Oh, I know those guys.
Yeah.
Well, the video, like, just harp music is on the background. So it's this kind of a cultural disconnect. Let me know what I'm gonna do.
I can tell you the sex.
Yeah.
We'll start after we make this determination, Steve. Like, it might be good enough to get here.
But yeah, I got this book out too, Steve Mackin collection. It's pretty good. So
On our Facebook, there's like 14 people on our Facebook. And sometimes on the YouTube video, they say like there's a couple hundred people here looking at it. There's lots of people who know about this.
Well, it's like everything is becoming, this sounds like an old man, I guess, but everything is becoming on the computer, virtual. Everything's virtual.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people can email it in instead of throwing it in.
Yes, sir, you did sound like an old man.
Yeah, that was an old man talking.
I'll show you an old man talking. I'm just about sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm being sick and tired. Sick and tired.
That's pretty damn old man, old manish. Well, let's say that now.
Yeah, right.
I know that's a good idea. I stopped drinking beer. Forget that mess. 30 years, man.
There you go. Oh, I got a
30
low
years you've
battery.
been over?
It's over 30 years.
It's over 30.
Oh, I have a low battery. I
You
can't
too,
go
huh?
anyway.
You're not quite at the same time. We just didn't know each other. How about you?
That's an 84. I can't call
Right
it.
now,
84.
it's your number?
No, I know it, but I can't call it.
What do you know? Well, I just see, I just.
I do have a lady too, I think, I don't think.
We have made the determination on the All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, such as we are, we shall begin this evening's entertainment. But I do like to make my routine announcements, or my announcements of routine. First, I'd like to welcome you here to Sacred Grounds, the longest running open mic that we know of in San Francisco in the known and unknown universe. Give yourself a round of applause if you're here, or a rectangle of applause.
We're damn good. What can we say?
The feature for this evening, Sherry Rose Walker caught the flu, and so she's not going to be here. But Greg Pond is our mini feature, and if we can get a hold of him, we'll have him be the feature instead of the mini feature if he's willing to do that. And Fiona and Teddy are our hosts, so give them a round of applause there. Thanks to Mr. Natural, we have our webcam running.
Mr. Brady, hold on, Mr. Brady.
Yes, dear.
What about, you said, please give them a round of applause. What if we only have a square of applause to give them? Is that acceptable?
Squares or rectangles, quadrangles in general are acceptable.
No rhomboids.
No rhomboids or triangles because those are uneven.
Yeah.
Actually, the rhomboids are even, but the triangles aren't. We'll talk about that.
Thank you, Steve.
If you have a cell phone, like I know I do, now's the time to turn it off so it doesn't go off when someone's reading and have they look at, give you that, what the hell did you hear, and, you know, that look. Good for the TV up there. We have fabulous prizes. I will talk about that in just a moment. So the cell phones, we took care of that. So, our fabulous prizes for this evening.
Who's the feature? Sherry Rose Walker, but she became fluish. And she is no longer, she wasn't able to be here.
Oh, this is Og Ganache Bed Riddance. I've read several of these things. They're very funny. If you like King Lear, here he is in all his naked glory.
There's a naked scene in that book.
And if you remember your historical fiction, you will probably remember William Makepeace Thackeray and Vanity Fair. It's a giant tome of heavy reading. And speaking of heavy reading, we have Thomas Wood. Thomas Wood of Time and the River. And he almost died.
That's an excerpt.
And this, I haven't had a chance to, the writing is really nice in this. It's called War Orphan in San Francisco by Phyllis Helene Matson. And it is, if you like historical things, this is your piece of cake or pie or, you know.
Quiche.
Yeah, piece of quiche. So these are our fabulous prizes for the end of the evening.
But we will begin with Buford Button, who is going to kick us off. Give him a nice round as he comes up here. It takes a hold of the stage and our minds. Thank you.
That's quite an introduction, thank you.
Well, you deserve every word.
All right, this is called, well, what it's really called is The Woman Going to Work, I Would Suppose, on the N streetcar. I see you're tall, slender, very thin legs. You have that raspy menopausal voice, blonde. God knows if it's real or not. How are you doing? You ask our neighbors as they pass by the shelter where we both sit in. Would you like to sit down? You ask me, and move down to the far seat where before you've been sitting in the middle one. You exude propriety, yet there's an aging sensuality about you as you now sit with your knobby yet somehow beautiful knees, white tennis shoes, and clean white socks on the streetcar, down one section yet facing me as we barrel along. It was a nice looking one, which you can probably tell. All right. And here we go with something completely the opposite, I suppose, of that. This is called The Toothless Man in the Motorized Wheelchair at the Ballpark. I want to race you in your scooter, the man in the motorized wheelchair says to Hunter Pence. I'm coming through, he says as he navigates himself up to the bar, which keeps fans from standing up against the heavily framed chain link fence in the knothole, which provides free viewing for fans. The lines on his face and his toothless mouth exhibit a life lived roughly and without privilege, except for the wheelchair, which he probably had to go through mounds of red tape to get. On a gorgeous Sunday afternoon, Hunter Pence, the most fan-friendly player on the Giants' magnificent best team in the major leagues, stood with his head almost half turned toward all of us behind the fence and considered the fantasy of racing the spirited man in his wheelchair and smiled. How much time do we have? A couple minutes. Yeah, I thought I did. You make it too hard. You make it too hard wanting and pushing me away at the same time. I've been down this road before and it didn't work because if you're like the other relationship, which you seem to be, you really don't want me. It's difficult enough when both people really desire each other. So take your big, blue-eyed, hot red heart and examine them like I'm doing now. I'm not going to meet you here or meet you there for the totally uncertain prospect of, quote, maybe.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to read the next set of readers so people know who they are and which order they come up in, or come in up. So we have Cesar, Stephen Copel, Diego, Owen, Stephanie, Jack, and then myself. And then we'll have some adventures this evening. So give Cesar a round of applause. Yeah. Professional, always a justice.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Okay, this poem's called The Page. Alone on the white plain, his steps are those of the pilgrim, small, barefoot, devoted. He seeks the great orchards where the sky of ever-ripe fruit rains upon the worthy. He weaves his basket, praying it is able to hold one peach and then another. This one's called Open 24 Hours. I could come back here to the crisp napkins, coffee, and apple pie and write poems of summer evenings that never came, of friends who are not here. Okay, how many people here have books from the Steve Mackin collection? All right. Okay. How many people have read some of those books? Okay. Great. Yeah. Some might. I'm going to prove it. I didn't just grab a bunch of them just to have them on my shelf. Classic. This is from Donna Nieto's Naked Sacred Earth Poems. Okay. A woman's body is a clock. A woman's body is a clock, a lunar timepiece, a moon dial. Her nipples mark the seconds. Her belly ticks the minutes. The shadows of her face reveal the hours. She revolves slowly around the center of her own being. The rhythm of her inner river swells and flows and ebbs and wanes, in symmetry with music made by angels, swallows, salmon, pebbles on the beach and distant stars. You cannot ever guess what time it is until you read it in her eyes, the pulse behind her throat, or her saliva when you kiss her, and the taste of yes is on her lips. "It's time to go," he said. She laughed, the way a startled bird takes flight upon a sudden noise that has disturbed its reverie upon the water. "It's time to go to work," he said. She laughed, the way alarm clocks shake and jiggle, rattle, teeter-totter, then explode, with all the innards flying off the bedside table, spilling coils and gears and 7s, 6s, 12s upon the square tiles of your bedroom floor. The digital computer in your wristwatch is no match for a woman's laughter. The numbers just slip sideways down her thighs, just like your semen sliding out from deep inside her, dripping down to stain the sheets of love. And all your numbers, reasons, limits, lame excuses wash away beneath the oil of her sweet sweat, and you are left bereft without those numbers that define you. They rinse right off like fragments of tattoos from some weird cult you temporarily strayed into. And such they are. Real numbers have a mystical significance like music. But the silly clown-faced clocks that you call watches, watching all your actions, policing all your movements, calling all your shots, they are a joke she can't remember for the life of her, because a woman's body is a clock, and time is in the dancing of her feet.
Quite a performer.
Yeah, I'm not going to shake it. I'm just going to read it.
It wouldn't be the same, man.
Okay. Watch the YouTube. Just take it off in front of the logging trucks. Okay. Moon soap. Moon soap washes the whole sky clean with silver light. Last night, when I crept out of slumber for a mid-dream pee, I found the slippery oval of the moon dripping silken lava right into my cottage, splashing pure illumination through the open window of my bedroom, soaking me in splendor, cleansing me of mind grime, absolving me of daily reality, rinsing me in magic, and I felt blessed to have been given this private audience with the queen of the night, in her guise as laundress of the soul. Donna Nieto.
Give it a time, like a gentleman. All right, thank you so much. All right, that was Cesar Love, but now we have Stephen Coppell before Diego, then Owen, then Stephanie, then Jack, then myself, and if anybody has not signed up, please let me know this now so we can scribe their name next to a number. All right, here he comes now, as a matter of fact. Glad handing the people who are on his way. This is normal for this young gentleman of poetic fame and note. Notice how I didn't do the anywhere in my hand. Do you want to read?
RJ.
Oh, I don't know how to read.
Is that RJ?
Just check.
I think it is.
And Mr. Pond, we were wondering if you would care to go a little extra length since our feature canceled. But with as many, you would read a little more than you might want. And now, give Stephen a round of applause. Before we understand exactly what it is he's about to.
Now, I've never been introduced that particular way because most hosts, such as this handsome gentleman to my left, usually introduces me as, here is the square of the day, and it goes from there. So this is most intriguing, and I'll be able to pick up, I'm quite sure, the modest celebrity that I propose to invigorate this room with, and hopefully there'll be something coming out of my mouth. It will be of some degree of
You're such a square.
to all of you, at least auditorily. I can't do any manipulation as far as rearranging my height, so I can only manipulate this to raise the the celestial level of the words, such as one of the first pieces that was published by Mr. Robert Anderson, who's based in Sacramento, and he advertised in one national magazine, the name of which I've forgotten, but it intrigued me, and so I did send him 3 different pieces. He did choose one, because what he publishes, or the format, and I'll show it to you as soon as I stop speaking, postage-sized page, both front and back cover, the size of postage stamps, and then the interior pages, whatever that number might be. Thank you for having that at the ready. Always well prepared. See, he's an editor, Mr. Cecil Love, so he knows how to prepare himself for these significant events.
Please do not magnify the event.
If Cecil Love is part of it, I intend to magnify as much as my little audience will allow me. Because he is worth it, as you well know.
As we will.
So, he calls this entity Poems for All, and reachable on the internet. So this one, by the person standing in front of you, both left and right pages. Pennies pout, dimes dazzle, by Stephen Coopell. Quick, quack, the quarter's back, running out of room on a field crowded with change, loose as a mascot moose, unsure of moves that qualify as dimmer than all the switches in coach's locked fuse box. Piggy backs out of a flour sack, shoulders a load squealing louder than a stadium high on radium fillings, with number 2 coach drilling his number 1 squad on a series of strategies which tickle the nickel in donors' bequests pledged when their personal goals were posted. Kind of clever. All those associations with the manly sport of football and all those horrible injuries that some of them might suffer 5 days or 5 years after they conclude their very beneficial contracts. Now, the second and final piece that I'd like to offer for your amusement and enjoyment as well comes from
Number 1.
something of a historical, maybe significant publication. And of course, the photograph taken by some individual with actually a bona fide, yet post-Brownie era camera, as a photograph at this front here. A cooperative quarterly, and at that time, as it says here, some of you have copies, perhaps number 1 or number 13 or whatever it might be. John Wedgwood, Teddy Weiler, Jim Watson Gove, and his wife Eleanor. These names familiar to some of you, and some of the real rugged old timers who are here, like this handsome dude to my left. So this is from winter number. What was the winter? The winter numbered, maybe, let's say we'll call it 1999. That's not very many, just an information of how many winters the world has lived through with volume 1, number 1. And I looked at the contents, listing, of course, the authors, writers whose work is published here. Not many that I even recognized, but I may defer to this gentleman. I won't use the adjective again. This gentleman to my left, he may indeed know some that I do not. So the piece that was selected, migratory. What kind of animal is referred to some with that adjective, migratory? Anybody want to go for it?
Boys.
Excellent.
Boys. Turkeys.
Okay,
Reindeer. Horses. Salmon.
we have a new
Yurts.
a new visitor who just walked in.
Yurts.
We'll wait for this person to settle in.
Glaciers. Yeah, they do.
All of that is true.
They are migrating there. I'm going to stop talking now.
And the person who just walked in doesn't give a shit about this particular poem. That's fine, because he stepped up to
Putting the baby in our basket.
You can bask in your bathing lights, or bathe in your basking lights.
Am I waning like W-A? Yeah, waning. Probably waning.
Bathe in your wasking light.
It's some sort of.
Someone, please stop me.
We'll come see
If
you.
I had 3 different flavors of this magnificent brand of chewing gum, I forgot if it's Tempo or Tiempo, I would offer all of you flavors of this
Who's the
chewing
poem?
gum. The poem, I forgot. Is there a poem in
Poem?
There could be. No, let's see. Let's go to migratory. How many syllables is that?
4.
Thank you so much for being accurate. I need that kind of confidence to buoy me. But I forgot how to spell buoy.
B-O-U-Y.
Or could it be reversed? Those 2 letters reversed. B-U-O? Maybe not.
You're probably, yes, you're probably right.
Yeah, I would say that rings a bell.
Do you have a bell in your room? I got one.
I have it in my head, it goes off all the time.
Oh my God. What a mind he's got. He's just fantastic. There is kinds of
Mind like a
tonalities.
steel trap.
And a steel trap as well. I carry that in the bottom of my pants sometimes.
Ooh.
And you've got to protect yourself in San Francisco, I guess, in certain neighborhoods. Okay, here we go.
Is this your poem? I just had to ask, because you haven't said whose it is yet.
I probably will, but I like page 27 because it has both the title of the poem. The title of the poem is what again?
Migratory?
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
Migratory.
And the poet is this little guy standing in front of you, whose birthday is today.
Oh, you should have said something.
But I wanted to keep it together as a quasi-secret because it's not that big.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Mr. Pond, bless his heart.
I'll never see 40
General
again.
Mr. Pond, with all due respect, he actually had something posted on Facebook relative to this elder Jew. Isn't that nice of him to do that? So I thank you publicly.
Okay.
A blasphemous bevy of sneering birds congregates. Psalms cower between covers. Pulpit a loud bully boasts a proud belly. Can't get work in hot houses of worship. Get cool in a lemonade choir. Migratory tenors for hire. Ready to inspire cardinals pontificating on withered lawns at park barbecues, car lots. Cap catching 40 winks. A snore away from a tie score. Gramps knows how many ice-cold Dr. Peppers make house calls. Hears smacking bats, launch balls beyond left field, past tenors' tunes into August, when all the righteous sermons sweat to survive absurdities aloft. A flock of leering crows veering south into July. Thanks for listening, you guys.
Mr. Steve Bell, who, as I say, is well. All right. This brings us to Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher.
Very good.
Lauren Bacall. Lee Harvey Oswald. Walter Brennan. Billy Graham. Billy Clinton. Clint Eastwood. Okay. This brings us to Diego. We have a nice round. Not a new Diego, but an experienced poet. Now entertaining you with a mind that has right mind.
This is the second time I've heard from microphone. Last week was the
I remember you before.
Yes, last week was the first. And today is the second, and next week is going to be the third.
Is it now? You turn it?
Let me start with this because the first poem that I wrote was the Sequoia, but I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself through this. This is a picture you can see myself.
Oh, the young child.
When I came to this country, 17 years old, and I wrote something in here. This is part of the story of my life, which I write it. I like to read before I go to the Sequoia, my first poem. Here we go. Year at 17, wearing my older brother's clothes, fit for me, preparing to venture to the new world. Leaving my family, my horse, and my plow behind, uneducated, immature in many ways than one, then not broken by the natural nor the man-made laws. I endured for 63 years. I contemplate my past prospect and looking forward. It's a poetical way, but it's absolutely true. I left because I worked with my father in the farm, with the horse, with the plow. I left everything, my family, everything. So, although it looks dramatic, but it's true. So now,
It's still a poem.
yeah,
It's a poem.
I didn't mean to be a poem, but it's because the fact that it's true. I like it. And now I'll go to the first poem, the Sequoia. By the way, this came to existence, this thing I wrote, because I read in some book that the sequoia trees, they were here before Jesus Christ. This is some of these sequoias that live 2,000 or 3,000 years old. Yeah. So that impressed me. And I wrote this poem. Strolling through Sequoia National Park, among the 1,000-year-old sequoias, I followed the trail made by the millions of visitors who came through this garden of natural beauty. The huge trunks of these trees display their power in the space they occupy high in the sky. Their longevity stirs my senses, imagination. These majestic sequoias witness the turbulent events of this world, yet remain unaffected by them. They have had their own adversity, wind, tempest, fires. They have scars to prove it. The life story is written in wood, their own. These living ornaments of the world, like anything alive, are not in a hurry to be replaced.
Very good.
I think some of the question about when my wife passed away, that was this one, well, reflection. From day one, I need someone. The same for everyone. The need extended throughout our lives to fill the void, I with loving wife, complete that which is itself depleted. When we lose the one we love, the love we lose can cost us dearly. To help love each other was our goal. The sweet image remained in my soul. Time of youth too brief seems too long when we leave. Our ancestors stars do not care how we deal with our affairs. Looking at the sky to suit our hurt, the sky embraces earth. I'm optimistic about the tomorrow, to avoid our wanted sorrow. I take my dream to bed tonight, hope to see the brightest light. When my world gets more and dark, I will be with my love on Stony Park.
There you go. Thank you.
We'll be back.
So just to give you an information, we have Owen, Stephanie, Jack, myself, Garrett, and then Greg. So give Owen a nice round of applause.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
my latest poem. Unfinished poem. Days of drear, clear, distant clouds, clods of clouds, clouds of darkness and dancing across skies of metaphor and moonlight. No clouds became, they are my metaphors, days of wind and would-be hot days. The Fallen Shoe, a poem in prose. A cup of curds captivates the soul of the bellet of balls and balustrades. Capture the sounds of shoes as they mutter their squeak with impossible aloofness. Shoes are the men on the street to the dandified boots, the impression they give to the self-made Jamesian American aristocrat out to show the world of ordinary shoes, what the streetwise poseur is all about. They lift the not worn out wearer to braggadocio and yes, profundity. I feel sorry for this poem. I wander as Ishmael, wander through the lonely day, try as I may to be. My knowledge sits on a mountain, high above the furtive inns and ways. Nothing alone, nothing. I am the opposite of alone. I wander like a bone to be fed to a dog. A cur does not purr like a cat, but I am trapped like a rat in a cage. I feel no rage. I am as stationary as a stage. This is one page of poetry that is an attempt at metaphor without logic. I feel sorry for it is pedagogic. I am the poet I dream about. The morning of the fate of the stars, I feel stripped of the cares and the stares of the many. People walk by, I sigh for their wishes, that is, I think they wish and are glad that they are here and nothing more than the air. My thoughts are one with the sun, and they try to reach the evasive moon that hides from the day and coldly wishes us good night. I am stuck with myself, alone and with no one else. Is the poet a dreamer? I dream, and I know how many sides a one-dimensional round triangle has. At the beach. The dark traces of the shadows of seagulls' wings, those ruffled rococo titans, the waves, salute the empty tide pools, shiny as shy mirrors. Cafe Trieste. To be a Triestano, that is a conoscenti. You're solemn, tough, happy, pedantic, profound, and enjoying every second of your peculiar sovereignty. You have invented your own state of things. You're a sports fan and are conventional, that is, I see you as conventional, insofar as you are normal, and have the normalcy to cry at funerals and rejoice at weddings. You're happy in your normalcy as it stands the reality and the glories of your imagination. Agnus Dei. Apart from it all, after Robert Lowell, I sit in a small corner. I see things with my eyes, a few suited passers-by. This is a Trieste Cafe. The title of this poem comes from sacred music, a prayer. Agnus Dei means Lamb of God. I search for a metaphor. The whole cafe is a poem I could not write. The tables are filled with people. There are no metaphors around, nothing. Grant Street is quiet, and that is that. There is emphasis on emptiness without a poem. I heard myself. Am I limited, or are they? Whose confused confession is it? Mine or theirs? Four short poems. 1. Raven noises defile the air. It scares the pigeons. 2. Bleak thoughts, bleak thoughts. My mind cries for a sentence. My mind becomes the wind for a split second. Then becomes the air, then vanishes, then quiet vanishes. At the Trieste, I'm writing right here. 4. The wind of puke and throb, the puke of air, I do easily scare, my wits are elsewhere. Fast, a prose rhapsody. Reasons trip on in a season of uninspiration. The inspired are not the expected. I am sitting on what? I do not expect a poem or a metaphor to show itself in the cold or from the library stacks where you expected to find a home. Okay, the metaphors, that is, are never on the bus, nor are they really in the air, where they sometimes blow by like leaves in the wind. Okay, thank you very much.
All right. That brings us to Stephanie Manning, then Jack, then myself, then Garrett, then our feature. Stephanie Manning, give her a well-deserved flowers.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
This one called Up From Meyer. And on the tabletop, crumpled transfers, ticket stubs, text messages from good friends, joyification of a gray day, and every moment booked by work like morning fog, disbelief, day rescued by sunshine, to risk happiness. She steps from the precipice. Will the magic ramp emerge to save her? Just for today, she will not ask the question. It's called Rolling Out from the Train. Many neat rows of green plants emerging, followed by a field of tawny foxtails, followed by an acre of prickly pear cactus, followed by a field of tawny foxtails, followed by neat rows of green seedlings, and then acres and acres of California golden grasses, mowed to the dirt. A great egret flies along a fork of Puta Creek, and now miles of corn growing, its oil headed for Europe. A wind generator sits idle on the still day. Horses in a corral at the edge of Dixon, a pond, condos, and a sound wall, an orchard, and now, scenic downtown Dixon, the train crossing, a big Christian church, its white ministry bus parked out beside it, almond tree orchard, a goat farm, and more fields of golden grasses, lots of blue sky, the double hump of Mount Diablo visible for 60 miles. Such an approach to work. Work, work, work. Oh, for the idle days of train rides to work. Perhaps my life is backwards, city to country, against the traffic, plowing the field of vision, counter-dimensional. I will watch the boiled eagle chicks of Livermore even as they grow from a distance, scope lending by the man of heart. Bring me better vision than I have, especially as the white light approaches. Bay water flows in, river waters flow out, and in the middle, great swirls of adventure.
Thank you so much. All right, this brings us to Jack O'Neill, then myself, then Garrett, then Greg, our feature for the evening, who has graciously agreed to extend his stay upon the stage.
Excellent.
So let us give a nice round of applause to Jack. Well known in the poetry circles.
Thank you. It's nice to see you. It's been a while since I've been here. This is called Doppler. You are easy to remember at the benefit. The band played, 4 in the band, 8 listening. In the basement of the yoga building, you now here, now there, in your jockstrap, tickled by the sound of time, each moment announced by its arrival with the exponentially expressed compression of rising pitch, and saluted with the much shorter buzz and a half of the low goodbye. What's best in the moment? The old gods derided, the goal god, eternity, the biggest lie, hooks them all, it's the truth. I don't want to die. Pathos in hell on an upside down cross, ethos ever smiling, remembers a song, logos looking inwards sends out the rays. Poor agape is trapped selling cars, never talks to Eros, who withers in the stocks. What's best in the moment is too short to sell. What's best in the moment is too long to tell. What's best in the moment, rat-a-tat-tat. The night light in the corner of the bed. And I paraphrase, expressed or not, there is always a ready tisk-tisk for the child that fears the dark, but the ever-ready pass for the adult who fears the light. Nowadays, when one's choice of night lights is unlimited, one may forget the younger days when there was only the night light. Away, away, never to return, so strong in our hearts, keep on living, and do not dart in the dark bedroom, where the corner of the bed lurks, like a worm cat at our shins. And I'll try to get this one in time. It's a sestina. In the second line, there's a homonym. No is K-N-O-W, and in the 19th line, scene is S-C-E-N-E. The social contract sestina. Because effortless grace chops stay, and we know more like influence, and individual feed or stress focus locus, and individual count quanta loss, stretch flex multiply number gnaw, reach all the way to the moon. Bring back the moon, tension flex always stay, away from inundated rabid gnaw, influence, 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 loss, 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 loss. What next? Quarterback rediscovers focus locus. Professor, where did it go, focus locus? Never mentioned squat, discard, trap moon, hearing conform over any loss, suspend foundation, pat, 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 clever, stay. Again it comes here, obedient influence, buried treasure, opened with a gnaw. Perhaps I see you or I don't, clock scene gnaw, always tall enough to see under the focus locus. Management quails the conversation with influence, workforce trousers the elocution moon, family doghouse, lonely sinner never stay, ancient sedimentary thrust vault, memory loss. With each sandbag pulling on the leash loss, corruption excuse in the temple of the law gnaw, perfection gene up to the cellular level stay, composed of choice, always a choice, focus locus, even if we have no choice but to choose the terror moon, so gently beseeched to us, rule of mob, influence. So cogently be spoken for, us, the rule of law, influence. If we have that, all is well and there is no loss. Thus organized, now pretend not to see the placate moon, because who I am from where I am, play date gnaw, always over and under, adding up to the focus locus, when all we really want, just hold me in your eyes, stay. Cigars, cookies, and truncheons between the influence focus locus, each tooth-worn pattern observing the moon gnaw, or, that's the word, never the lost concept, stay. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
That brings us to me, or me to you, or both.
Wow. That was practiced.
That was practice. Don't do this at home. Okay.
Go ahead.
So I'm going to read some haiku and a poem. But never read poems you don't like. I mean, you know. All right. On the path, stepping over one ant, only to come down upon another. I was trying to be helpful. Okay. The one that didn't get away. Thank you. Summer rain sprinkles across the pond, dissolves trees, clouds, all the heavens. This is, oh yeah, okay. Summer rain sprinkles across the pond, dissolves trees, clouds, all the heavens. And this is for a fellow school teacher. There are other school teachers who are school person, there's other school person. And this was written for my students at the time that this happened. May, kids off the hook into grassy meadows, making dandelion wishes.
Let me just see that.
Still pond, in reflection, fireflies circling the moon. And I like this one. I've read it here a few times, and people go, I like that one. So I'll read it. Swift, over the pond, the rippled shadow, dragonfly, low enough for the frog. and then this one was written as it occurred. It was notated and recognized. Well, the cardinal rumples up his big red breast amid rhododendrons. As in the rhododendron bill, rhododendron dell. Okay, so this is called Angels, and it was inspired partially by a prompt. It was a letter that became a poem, but the prompt was who has influenced you? So this is a poem that deals with that. How and when does a story begin? How are we to know? When I think of it, any tale, no matter its size, must begin long ago. So when asked who influenced me, I gave my friend this analogy. Consider a stream, I said, even a small one, near to hand. Is not its course ever guided by the contours of the land? Is it not affected by every rock, bit of soil, or living thing with which it coexists before and after the stony lip of its spring? And are not all these things but a postscript proceeding from a source which charges the nature of the stream and so affects its discourse? Nor should I fail to say that forests and men alike surely do amend it, for its worth is clear to those temporal beings who can apprehend it. But the fishes and all the living things cannot be the stream, nor, for that matter, can it be the water, or so it would seem, for the flow is ever carried off, even as we watch for sport, whether by evaporation or gravity's simple transport. It's surely not its path, or the things it is carried off, nor could it be its remains, a shallow, drying trough. A stream, then, is a time and place dependent on conditions which, if the truth be told, have utmost antiquity as its origins. Preconditions which, if they be scientifically analyzed withal, stretch back into beginnings of time and matter immemorial. And perforce, do they not, I waxed, extend to onward in time until the very edge of doom itself. Imagine a stream so sublime. And so full circle I came as my analogy found its end. What are the credits I must roll to answer, my friend? No less than everyone who has ever been or may yet be. Nothing less than that full chorus, say I, have clearly influenced me. Thank you. All right. And now,
Wait a minute, who did I say? Oh, Garrett.
Garrett Murphy and then Greg. So give Garrett a good round of applause. Put him on up here with him.
Macho, macho, man up. John F. Kerry, armchair general, of course in his own mind, Kerry wanted to be a macho man, so he behaves true to word like most of his ilk, and punishes Edward Snowden to do today what he, mighty Kerry, couldn't quite bring himself to do in 2004. Man up, he barks as if he knew the slightest thing about manhood. Kerry wanted to be a macho. Delusionary ideas about manhood aside, he must be trying with the usual desperation to appease the other bogus real men. You know, the hot air pundits and parody of foxes salivating wet dreams about meeting Snowden at the airport when he lands on U.S. soil to face the music of rifles and machine gun fire, tenderizing this most heinous traitor into a modern-day Ninoy, as though they were the cartoon hood rocking on and off on violin. Macho, macho man. Kerry wanted to be so bad to be a macho. Check, please don't. Okay, your state ID, check. Your driver's license, check. Photo ID, check. Vehicle registration, check. Birth certificate, check. Passport, check. Marriage certificate, check. Doctor's verification, check. Power of attorney, check. High school diploma, check. Middle school diploma, check. Elementary school diploma, check. Proof of residential living for the last 20 years, check. Military honorable discharge, check. Proof of mental competency, check. All this stuff just to obtain a gun? Gun? What gun? This is the voter registration line. The gun owner's registration is a fast express lane. The one with fast tracking processing. No waiting there, not ever. The Tea Party's lame deconstruction of two types of help in one false move. The help. We need somebody. The help. Not just anybody. The help. You know we need someone to get it through the heads of Michelle and Barack that their places here is one of the help. Not as the first couple, the first lady and the president. You want others of your kind to think they too can rise beyond their proper place? Come on now, somebody knock some sense back into them. Otherwise, we'll need to learn to grow up and learn to please help ourselves.
Aaron Murphy, ladies and gentlemen, always good. All right. That brings us to Mr. Pond, whose silken voice has graced the stage many times here. And he was to be the mini feature this evening, but as the feature became ill and was unable to attend, he has decided to step into those shoes and fill them well. And fill them well he will. Or fill them will he well. Or well fill well if they fill well. I'll stop now. But give him a nice round. A great poet. Very good.
I'll see what I can do.
He'll see what he can do, but you know, we like the guy, so he's good. We're happy that he's happy.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening to you.
Good evening, Mr. Paul, quite an honor. And thank you for the upgrade.
Yeah, well, my pleasure.
So to speak. All right. I think I'm going to start off with a poem by Matthew Rogers. We all know Matthew, and this is just one of his, there's actually so many. This is actually one of those very short one. We're like little droplets of rain, fearing what we will become when we die, only to find out that we become the sea. The last request. If I die, leave my door open. The little boy is picking flowers in the garden. From my door, I can see him. The little boy is singing about the sun and the sea. From my door, I can hear him. If I die, leave my door open. It's full moon tonight, so it's a moon poem. Night flyers. A flock flying at night. A V shape reflecting the full moon's light, looking luminous, almost translucent, and gliding so bright. Wings fluttering in flight, celestial fingers waving a cool accordion fan. It lasted for what seemed like no more than 4 second-hand movements, all in formation, riding a breeze and heading southeast. A flock floating from sight, a gray scarf, a silver kite, illuminated by the same light that enables me to see in my sleep, find a pen, and write this dream. Okay, here's some newer ones. And I don't know, some of these I may not have read, and some of them may not work that well, but anyway. 4 a.m. 4 a.m. and still in the dark of morning, before dawn opens its eyes to the new day's horizon, while the world is cozy with an evening shawl wrapped around its shoulders. What are you still doing up when most folks are down? Isn't this the moment the night guard makes his rounds? Isn't this the time the world makes no sound? Isn't this the hour that they send in the clowns? Missing hearts. The missing hearts were last seen bouncing down the wrong way of a two-way street. They're not well armed and still remain at large. They don't know where they're going, so don't be too alarmed. The missing hearts might skip a beat, might even miss you blind. They move at a pace with no time to waste. These hearts are hard to find. Some stay congested, some broken or cracked. Some may get stolen, while others get attacked. The missing hearts have been known to knock you off your feet. So give them love and handle with care if you see them on the street. Final call. When hope has left the gate, it gets replaced by fear and hate. The love we were given has been lost since we've been living in this culture of violence and rape. Proposals for control, like suggestions for change, silently fall on the deafest ears and bites the dust that thickens on shelves during midterm election years. When our feelings reel from madness to sadness to "I'm glad it wasn't us," then something's got to be done. Annihilation awaits any nation that loves its guns more than its sons, and loves its daughters just a little bit less, or even yet not much at all. A generation is left to fend for itself, while a country ignores its final call. Entitled, I Am Not Who. We're sent here with many gifts and time to hone our skills. We're blessed with freedom of thought, as well as given free will. We are assigned to express the divine, to live in truth, to rise and shine. But exactly who we are is not something that's easy to prove. For I am not really who I think I am, and neither, I think, are you. Semester before last. I'm not quite sure what the inspiration for this poem was, but anyway. They met semester before last in September, around 7:30 early. Student lounge, study couch. Straight A average contenders, straight as an arrow pretenders. They reconnected one day late on their way to class, rushing past each other, opposite sides of campus. Then, by happenstance, one fast night they crisscrossed paths in mid-November. A moment stolen after the coffee shop closed, when the moon rose so seductively behind thick bushes and trees, so discreetly as to leave no shadows and stir no breeze. In a December dawn, post-final exams, pre-Christmas week, they discovered burning love in the embers that remained when most classmates escaped back home for the holidays. Once winter break was over, the school year resumed, with the next semester arriving too quickly, ending too soon. The time had come for one to leave, while the other still had a year to complete. And though their love couldn't compete with the miles that would grow between their lives or the people they'd later meet, they always knew if and when they saw each other again, they would fondly remember their last semester together as college lovers and friends. Questions. What new have you learned today? Have you made a mark upon the page? What do you have that's worthy to say that might make a difference this or that way? Was there a lesson in the form of a blessing that left you guessing, that made you afraid? Have you made a mark upon the page? What new have you learned today? Peace, brother. Peace go with you, brother, as you walk your walk through the crumbling dark, looking for a random glow or tiny spark to guide you through the night. It's all right if we don't always agree. And though we often don't see eye to eye or each other's reasons why, will you stand up for me when they come with chains to take away men who complain that freedom is still a deferred dream? Peace go with you, brother, as you talk your talk from corner lots to playground parks, drop some knowledge, leave a mark on the hearts of those willing to listen to the missing chapters of our history. Over centuries of diminished dignity, from ship to shore, slave to poor, it's no mystery when 1 million men press their shoulders together in united strength and force to open the deadlocked cell block doors marked freedom is still a deferred dream. May peace go with you, brother, for we need each other now more than ever before. Family tree. Ranging from little to middle, through tears and years and fears, then back again. Wonder how they'll handle my return trip home, having been gone so far away and for so long. Wonder if they'll still save a place for me on the sturdiest bough of our family tree, with roots that stretch too deep to delete, and a trunk too strong, too thick to be ignored. Memories captioned and cataloged, glued for eternity's view. A green photo album, one sheet at a time, perused on the slow Sunday afternoon, leafing back through earlier times, clear plastic covered young pictures of siblings, cousins, uncles and mother. I tried to connect dots possibly estranged, despite occasional calls, Christmas cards, or how we may have changed, thick or thin, slow or shaky, bald or gray. These middle pages find me trying to reject the character in the mirror, who has taken center stage, who has taken the lines I might say and written them on my face. Wonder if I'll look old to them, or if they will look the same, as we don our evolving masks, measured more by experience than by wrinkles or calendar age. I wonder how the family will handle my coming back home again. Satisfied. Am I living too soon? Was I born too late? Am I waiting for something new or recovering from my mistakes? There is one thing I know for sure. You can't always predict what's yet to come, nor change what came before. Can't relive the should-haves and could-haves, or view what's behind the future's door. Presently, I'm beginning to see what stands out and what's trapped between the things I want versus the things I need, the truth of who I was and who I'll be. However, in this moment, I can say happily, I'm quite satisfied with just being me. This is probably one of the craziest poems I've written. It's just a silly, stupid poem, but I will share it with you anyway. It is entitled Tall Tales. I'm going to stand right here because I want to talk to you. Got a mouthful of lies, but eyes full of truth. There are things I may have done, things I just can't prove. Some stuck in my imagination and some I would never do. I've been all over the map, to more places than I can recall. I once donned a Panama hat when I scaled the Himalayas in Nepal. I was king of England way, way back in the day. And now that I think of it, ever since my reign, England just ain't been the same. I gathered soul from the Congo. I ruled Mexico for centuries. Bent a leaning tower of stone, then turned the Nile into a stream. I swam Gibraltar straight and narrow. I cruised across the Seine. I bungee jumped the Grand Canyon from aboard a private plane. I've flown over the high noon Gobi. I froze last summer at South Pole, with snow and sand storming below me, nothing but sunburn and frostbite to show. I have sailed the 7 seas using a compass as one eye. I've only seen half of what I need to see because my other eye is blind. I've viewed volcanoes, famine and wars, hurricanes, earthquakes, high tides, typhoons, monsoons, mushroom clouds, but still I will survive. I've crossed continents and oceans. I've crossed fingers, toes, and eyes. I've crossed my heart more than twice, spanning longitude and latitude lines. I might get my wings singed by the sun, but somehow still manage to fly. Or take a trip to Mars one day, even though we know that's a lie. I could go on and on ad nauseum, though the truth is there's little more to say. But I'm so glad that you could listen to my tales of bullshitting, while my imagination got a chance to play. Night watch. Entrusted with care of the night each night. One window's light left on through dark patrol. Sleepless and red-eyed, a century silhouetted, intermittently visible and reflected below. Black and white TV shadow, real life film noir soul. Keeps vigil through the late thereafter, till the streets grow tired and the moon goes home.
Watch out for those cords. They'll snag you.
All right, well, normally, this is not normal. What is normal? Normally, we do a 10-minute break before we go to the second half, but we don't have more. We've reached our limit, unless you're interested in reading a poem. Just to make sure. Okay. That's because both people are just double checking. All right, so we're going to take care of the fabulous prizes for this evening.
See? Your time's up, Greg. So we have War Orphan in San Francisco, Phyllis Helene Matson. I have read parts of it. It's letters and text and things like that. It's very interesting. I haven't read the whole thing, but it's interesting. King Lear, I always thought it was spelled L-E-E-R, but yeah, it's just me. And Vanity Fair, William Makepeace Thackeray. I've always wondered about that name. Edited by Geoffrey and Kathleen Tillotson, I don't know. But I look at the size of this thing. In 8th grade, I tried to read this.
How many pages?
It has 17 billion. No, I'm only kidding. Oh, these are the. Oh, it goes on for. It says here. 9. Can you read this? I can't read English. I can read it. There you go. Because I don't have my glasses with me.
666 pages.
666?
Shorter than Harry Potter.
Shorter than Harry Potter. And of course, we have Thomas Moon. Thomas Moon. This is 912 of Time and the River. And of course, beloved Ogden Nash, who shall be named and wonderful. Can you shuffle these few thin cards that will allow me to choose the person of my choosing? Notice how this is happening again. I shouldn't do this.
Don't do this at home. Don't do this at home.
Stephen Copel, we still like you. All right, so we have a drum roll, please. A drum roll, thank you so much. And our first winner, Cesar Law.
Oh, shoot. I'll contribute it to the company. I got to.
We have people to do that.
Yeah, really. And, well, that's me, but I'm giving him away, so I can't do that. Jack.
Actually, really, not tonight, okay?
This is you, Greg. He's already a winner. We've had winners this evening. If you've never won anything, this is your chance.
I donate mine. Even though I didn't get it, I donate mine.
No. This I like. There's, you know, it's a fun, it's a good read. Of course, Ogden Nash is always silly but happy poems. Drive what nuts and crazy nuts. All right, Ogden goes. And
That's a choice.
Diego, come and take a book. This, I think you like this one.
I will donate to anybody who can read. Who can read?
Yeah, thank you so much. You're a kind person. As soon as I know what kind, I'll get back. Stephanie. She looks over. She's not impressed with our choices this evening. Garrett. He's motivated. He's confident. He's closer than ever been. I see. What I try to do is try to imagine what the person will pick if they pick something. Okay, I was completely wrong on that one. And then Stephen, just checking.
Well, let's see. There are no checks in Stephen's pocket. We'll have to go on to somebody else.
Okay, and then, see, we're closing in on things. Oh, wait a minute. Did Stephen already. And then Owen. Now, did I miss somebody? Because I went through all the. Okay, Buford. Then you're after him. I think I know what you would like. Your choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
How have you been?
You had a big song.
Someone. Oh. See, I figured. So I knew someone was going to take something clear. I just thought.
That didn't explain it. I mean, I think it was like.
All right. So Buford will be our mini
somebody else
feature, and
posted
next
it,
week,
had your name.
ladies
I
and
couldn't-
gentlemen, we have.
Okay. That must be-
Margot Rudell, but if you, I don't think a lot of people know her, but really good poetry. I've seen her on the web a few times, and she came highly recommended. I think Clara recommended her, so it'll be a really good read tonight. And this, of course, he'll be our mini feature next week. So there you go. On with the next show. Same bat time, same bat station, 7 o'clock. Sign in and reinvest in America. Thank you so much. Come back again. Saddle up and ride as if you've never ridden before.
Phone, but I couldn't all.
Yeah, I don't know. I said I needed a flash player.
Just check.
Solicit was streaming.
Oh, solicit.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe it's yeah.
Yeah, this is this thing
Oh.
that's going on.
Well, come to
Yeah, I
right.
thought it was that one, but.
Say what you need to say. I mean, you like, or what?
Sure, go.
Is there something you want us?
You wanna read?
Come here and-
Scared to listen.
Oh, well, come on up.
Oh, sure.
Oh, come on up then, there you go. That's, I didn't know you came in just as we were closing. There we go. What's your name?
Give him a book.
Ed Adam?
Yeah.
Make
Adam.
him take Thackeray.
Okay.
There you go.
Make him take the big book.
Oh,
Make it drag.
do you have something of yours?
Yeah.
Okay,
Is
cool.
that how you're supposed to do it?
Yeah, you can use somebody else's, you can do yours.
I give you one mine.
This is
You
terrible.
can retake one of his.
I know, I was a kid.
Diego.
I really got one if you want.
How you doing?
Okay, there we go. And I'm just asking you two, yes, no?
No, you guys have to.
See, Adam's great.
You have to
We got people
Diego.
watching on the internet over here, they say, that Adam guy, nice handsome. Okay, go.
This is called my grandfather taught me to hold. And when I was like this tall, I was in North Carolina, and there was a hummingbird that got stuck in my grandfather's garage, and he had to take it in his hands and walk it out of the garage because it wasn't smart enough to fly down, to fly out. And after he let go, he said it was like it was never there because it was so light and so fragile. It was like he had never held it in the first place. So I wrote this, and it's called My Grandfather Taught Me to Hold. My head is full of hummingbirds. Hummingbirds humming with red tails and blue wings, ones with little yellow feet and missing feathers, ones the color of sassafras. Others that smell of unrequited love, one that sounds of grandfather teeth chattering. These birds, I collect them. They dance in my fingertips and tickle my elbows. There is one in my throat, and I cry, their feathers. But the flock, it is always too big for my body. And I have tried to keep it in mason jars on tall shelves in tall rooms with narrow, dark, hardwood yodeling hallways. But before I reach their perches, the birds escape me into the dusty corners of ex-lovers' bedroom windows and the cold leather seating of restaurant dining booths. So my most beautiful have succumbed. And I know this only from the voids they leave behind, spending long afternoons wondering what was the color of their eyelashes, the stature with which they once flew, before they escape me once, twice, and 3 times over for newer birds to escape me and to tickle my elbows, to peck at my fingertips, to escape me in the night and never say goodbye. Thank
Oh, yeah, well, go ahead. Then you gotta close. Yeah.
This is short mark. I want to drink. To the woman I love, you enter out the beauty created by heaven, an invitation to love. I need your spark to ignite my flame. Be my light tonight, in my arms. Be my life stand. Through sunrise to sunset, and many breaths in between, if we should encounter stormy days, our love will shield us always.
Thank you so much, Dave. Good job. So next week, 7 p.m. is the sign up. You've been doing this since 1972 in one form or another.
Just in case you and Nat will.
Oh, thank you. Would you like either one of these? Since you read and I didn't have a chance to call your name, so. Oh, sorry. Vanity Fair and then Thomas Wolfe.
I think I'm okay.
Huh?
Do you know? Should I?
Yes, you should. You should take one.
Yeah, I want Thomas, please.
Thomas Wolfe has made it into your hands. You will not regret this move. Vanity Fair going once, twice, not sold to the highest bidder. All right. So come back next week. Margot Rudell will be here, and Buford will be the mini. It'll be a wonderful evening, just like tonight. Give yourselves a round of applause for all the work you have done. All the things you should have didn't do because you were Thanks for
See you next week.
See you next week.
Don't promise anything.